In this tutorial, I'm going to teach you how you can create a beautiful premium login pop-up in just a few minutes using Elementor Pro. So when visitors with an account land on your website, they can trigger the login pop-up by clicking on the call to action. Then they can log in and automatically they will be redirected to the page of your choice. In my case, I redirected to the dashboard. But now, as you can see, the call to action has changed to my account. So let's go to our home page. For example, let's say we just want to go back to our dashboard. We can just click on my account. But now if we log out, so let me log out. As you can see, the call to action has reverted back to login. And if we click, we're back at stage 1. Now, of course, this also works on the mobile. So if I click on login, then I can just log in and I'm redirected to the page of my choice. And same thing, I can go to any page on the website. So let's go to About Us. If I click back on the navigation, now I can click on my account and I'm back where I want it to be. And if I log out, I'm redirected to the home page. Now, one thing we will not be covering in this tutorial is how to create a fully functional customer dashboard, as you can see here, because that would be a pretty lengthy tutorial with a tool like JetEngine. But hey, if you're interested in this type of tutorials, please let me know and maybe I'll do one in the future. So in case you didn't know, I'm your host Casino from Casino.com. I'm the digital alchemist. So let's get started with this tutorial. Okay, so this is what we're going to start with. And even though it looks exactly like what I've shown you, as you can see here, I have a call to action, but when I click, nothing happens. And we need to make all the magic happen. Prerequisites. So apart from a fresh WordPress install and a WordPress theme, and in my case, I'm using the free Astra theme, which is very lightweight, what you really need is the Elementor plugin as well as Elementor Pro. Now, if you don't have Elementor Pro yet, you find the link in the description below. It's an affiliate link, so it means that I do get a commission if you purchase after clicking on one of my links, but I only recommend Elementor Pro because I absolutely love the product. I use it in all my projects, and this is the kind of tool that I recommend to my friends and family. And on top of that, it doesn't cost you anything extra, and it gives a little kickback to the channel, and that allows me to keep on creating free content. Now, we'll need another plugin which is completely free, but we'll see that a little bit later on in this video. Creating the pop-up. So first of all, you want to go to templates, then click on pop-ups, then click on add new, and I'm going to call it pop-up login, then click on create template. Now we don't want to use a pre-made pop-up, so I'm just going to close this and I'm going to click on the plus and select one column. And right away, I want to edit the pop-up settings. So for that, I need to click on the gear icon at the bottom left corner of this window. So click on the gear icon, and next I want to select a width of 100 VW. So click on VW and 100. And now for the height, we want to select custom VH, and I'm just going to make it blank for the time being. Content position should be on top. The position horizontally should be in the center, and vertically it should be at the top. Next, I want to deactivate the overlay as well as the close button. And for the entrance animation, I want a fading down. And for the exit animation, I want to fade out up. And I want to change the animation duration to 0.2. And for the general settings, we don't need to change anything. So I'm just going to click on publish. And it's going to ask me where do I want to display my template. So I'm just going to add a condition, and by default it says include on the entire website, and that's exactly what I want. So I'm just going to click on next, save and close. Okay, so now that we've done this, I want to go to style, so still in the pop-up settings. Then I select the background type, classic, and I'm going to select the white color here with the color picker. Next, where you see box shadow here, I'm just going to click on the back to default icon so that I can remove that ugly shadow. Next, I want to click on the Advanced tab, and I want to activate Prevent Closing on Overlay and Prevent Closing on the Escape key, because that's really annoying if people are actually entering their details in the login pop-up and inadvertently they click in the overlay or they just click on the Escape key, then they have to start all over again. So once you're happy with it, click on Updates. But for the moment, it still doesn't really look like what we want, okay? So you want to open the navigator. Mine is already open, but in case you're wondering, here at the bottom left corner, you have the navigator icon here. Or you can just use the keyboard shortcut Command+I on a Mac, and I guess Control+I on a PC. Okay, so with my navigator open, I'm going to select my section. Okay, now with my section selected, I can start working on the layout tab. So I want the content width to be full width. I want the height to be a minimum height of 60 VH. Now you can see it's bigger, it's taking 60% of the viewport. Next, I want the column position to be stretch. Vertical align should be space between. The overflow, I leave it like this. HTML tag, I leave it like this. And same thing for the structure. So once again, let's save our work. Next, I want to select the column inside my section. So once again, I'm going to use the navigator. I'm just going to toggle it. And as you can see here, I have a column. I only have one column in this section actually. So let me select the column. And then I want to go to advanced with my column selected. And I want to give it a padding of 50 pixels all around. So it's just going to give some space for the content. Okay, so now I can start dragging widgets inside my column. And for that, I'm going to click on the widgets icon here at the top left. And the first widget I want to add is an image. So let me drag this here. And I'm going to select an image that I already added in my media library. So let me add that one here. And in case you're wondering, I created that image myself. You can use Photoshop, Affinity Photo, or if you want to use free tools, you can use the GIMP or Photopea, which is a kind of Photoshop in the browser. And basically, these are just two lines. So this is a 512 pixels by 512 pixels file with a transparent background. And I just added a couple of diagonal lines and I saved it as a PNG so that it keeps the transparent background. Okay, with my image selected, I'm just going to go to the style tab and I'm going to give it a size of 50 pixels. Then back to the content tab and I'm going to align it on the right hand side. Now, as you may imagine, the purpose of that image is to close the pop-up. So for that, we want to go back to the content tab with our image selected. Then where it says link, you want to select custom URL, then click on the dynamic tags icon and then look for the actions. Click on pop-up, then click on the wrench icon and in the action drop down, select close pop-up. And once you're happy, just click on update. Okay, next we can add another widget. So once again, click on the widgets icon here. And this time I'm going to add an inner section just below the image we just added, but we'll fill that in a little bit later. So let's add a third widget. Once again, click on the widgets icon. And this time we want to add an icon box. Well, you could use other widgets, but I'm just going to use this one. Now, as you can see, all the elements are spaced evenly vertically, and that's because initially we set the vertical alignment of the section to be spaced between, if you recall. So now let's style it and then we'll take care of the intersection. So with our icon box selected, let's remove the icon and let's change the text to close. Then I'm going to remove the description. And same thing, we want to do the same thing we did previously for the image. So where it says link, we're going to select the dynamic tags icon, then look for actions, pop up, click on the wrench icon, and then select the close pop-up behavior. And next we just want to change the way it looks. So for the HTML tag, let's select span. Then in my case, I'm just going to style it to my liking. So next I'm going to click on update to save my work. And now we can really take care of what you came here for. So the login pop-up. So first of all, I'm just going to delete the first column because by default it has two columns. Then I'm going to select my inner section here by clicking on the 6 dots. And I want the content width to be boxed, and I'm going to give it a content width of 600 pixels because I don't want this to be too wide. Next, I'm going to click on the widgets icon once again, and this time I want to look for the login widget. So I'm just gonna drag it here. And actually, I want to spice this up, so I'm just going to add another image. So once again, let me click on the widgets icon, and I'm just gonna drag an image icon here. So for our image, I'm going to select the logo. I'm going to pick this one here. And then I'm going to go to style. And in my case, I'm going to give it a width of 36%, but it really depends on the size, on the shape of your logo. So you need to play with those values. Okay, next let's start styling our login widget. So first of all, on the content tab, in my case, I don't want to show the label and the input size should be large. Now for the button, it should say login, so that's good. And the size should be medium. And for the alignment, I want it to be full width. Next, let's click on the additional options, and I want to add a redirect after login here. So let me toggle that option, and then I'm just going to look for the page that I want to redirect to. In my case, it's my account. Next, you want to click on the style tab. So the rows gap, I'm going to leave it at 10. Links color is fine for me. Once again, make sure it matches your website style. Okay, so that's starting to look good. Once you're happy, just click on update. And as you can see, this is what we want to have, just like in the final demo. Okay, but now we need to add a trigger to open this pop-up, triggering the login pop-up. Now, I'm using Elementor Pro, and I've created a custom header from Elementor Pro, which is overriding the theme that I'm using on WordPress. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I created more than 10 videos on the topic. I got more than 10 tutorials teaching you how to create a hybrid navigation. So I'm not going to cover everything in this video, but basically this is the custom header I've created. One way to access it and to change things is to go to the dashboard. Then you want to go to templates, theme builder. And once you're in theme builder, I got a few headers here. Now, another way to do it is just to go to the front end. And once you're in the front end where it says edit with Elementor, you just hover over it, you don't click on it, and then it's going to show you which header is being used. And in our case, it's header 02 design. So let me click on this. Okay, so this is our header. And as you can see here in the navigator, I got one for the tablet and mobile and one for the desktop. Sometimes I just have one, but once again, go and check the tutorial I've already created for this type of hybrid navigation. So first of all, we're going to take care of the desktop, and we'll talk about tablet and mobile later. So basically our header here is one section with 3 columns. First column is the logo that links back to the homepage. Then I have a nav menu, which is a Pro widget from Elementor Pro. Basically, it's our navigation for the website. And then I have one column with a call to action. And this is what we're going to use today. So with our call to action selected, the first thing I want to do is change the text. So initially the text is going to say login. So I've just changed that here. And next I want to link it to the pop-up. So if you recall, when we closed the pop-up in the previous steps, well, basically it's the same thing, but this time we're going to open the pop-up. So let me remove this, and I'm just going to click on the dynamic tags where it says link. And then I'm going to select pop-up in the actions, as you can see here. So click on pop-up. Then you want to click on the wrench icon. And by default, it says open pop-up. Now, which pop-up is it going to use? So for that, click on the drop-down here. And I'm just going to type login because that's the name I gave to my pop-up. So pop-up login. Okay, now click on update. Okay, so now it should work. Okay, so now we're back in the front end, and this is the version where we haven't done anything yet. As you can see, if I click on call to action, nothing happens. So now let's refresh the page. Okay, now it says login. If I click, there you go. So this is my custom login. And now if I click on the image here, it closes it. Let's try one more time. And this time let's click on the close button here. And once again, it works perfectly. Now, one thing we did is that when we log in, we want to be redirected to a page. So let's try one more time. And this time I'm just going to log in, and there you go. It works. It redirected me to the My Custom page. And now if I log out, okay, I'm back at square one. But one thing that should be different, I don't know if you saw it. So once again, let me log back in. Once we've logged in, now the button should change to my dashboard or my account. So if I click back in, now it just opens once again the login pop-up, and it doesn't make sense. We don't want that. We're already logged in. Now, of course, we can just log out here, but it makes more sense to actually allow the user to access their dashboard. So for that, we want to go back to the WordPress admin, and we want to go back to our dashboard, and then you want to go to plugins, add new. And then we're going to look for dynamic visibility for Elementor. So just type it here in the search field, and that's the one here. So all you have to do is first click on install. I've already done it. And then once it's installed, you need to click a second time to activate the plugin. So as mentioned, it's completely free and it's from a solid developer. So let's go back, and this time I'm just going to refresh the page. And now let me select my call to action again. And as you can see now, I have a fourth tab which says visibility, because by default in Elementor and Elementor Pro, you only have content, style, and then advanced. And now with this plugin, we have visibility. So that's going to allow us to add some conditional statements. If this happens, do this. If this happens, do that. Okay, so the first one is our login. We already have it here. So the first thing you want to do is click on enable visibility. And then we want to select the display mode. So we want to show this button, login, when people are not logged in. Makes sense, right? So where it says triggers, I'm just going to delete everything because I find it easier. And then I'm only going to select user and role. Next, I want to click on the user and role tab. So here by default, it should be empty. And then you're just going to type visitor and then select visitor non-logged user. So basically what we did is we gave a statement, a conditional statement that says enable visibility for this button and show it when it's a visitor and a non-logged in user. Let me click on update. So let's check if it works. So let's go to the front end, and here I'm logged in as an administrator. So I'm not a visitor. So I'm just going to refresh the page. And as you can see, it disappeared because we're not a visitor. So it's not showing the button. Okay, so now all I need to do is right click on the button here and click on duplicate. And then with my second call to action selected, I'm just going to change the text to my account. And next I want to change the link here. So I'm just going to click on the little cross here to remove the previous behavior. And then I'm just going to add the link to where I want to go. So I'm going to click on the visibility tab. This time I'm going to change the behavior. So I still want to enable visibility, but this time I want to hide this call to action when the user role is visitor. So let me click on update. Once again, let's go back to our front end, still logged in as an administrator. And I'm just going to refresh the page. And now you can see it's got the My Account button. Okay, so now let's try as a regular user. So I'm here on the front end. Let me click on login. I'm going to log in with Jane Doe. Okay, and now it works. My account. Now, one slight detail. If you recall the initial demo, I had a different icon here. So let me select my second call to action. Then I want to go to content icon, and I'm just going to select a user icon, and I'm going to place it before. Okay, that looks better. So let me update. Let me go back to the front end. Let's refresh. And there you go. So this is the behavior you wanted. Now, if I click on log out, okay, I'm back at square one. I can log back in. Okay, and now it says my account. So I can go to any page. Let's go to our homes page. Let's click on another page, and oh, I want to go back to my account. Okay, it works fine. Then I can log out. And once again, back to square one, adding a logout link. Now, there are many ways you can add a logout link. There are some specific plugins, or if you're already using a plugin like JetEngine, by default, you can activate the option, or you can find plugins on the WordPress repository. But here, it's actually much more simple than that. So let me edit this page with Elementor. So basically, all I did is I just dragged the login widget here. So all I did is I looked for widgets. I typed login, and then I just dragged a login widget. And what happens is when you're already logged in, by default, it's going to show you the logout link. So let me remove this. Oh, actually, there is one more thing you need to do. So if I select the login form here, then if I go to additional option, now I can redirect after logout. So by default, it will be like this. So you can just say when people log out, so toggle it on, and then you can select where you want to redirect people. So in my case, I chose site URL. You could just type the URL of your website, or you can just click on dynamic tags and then scroll down to site URL. And there you go. So now because I'm logged in, it doesn't show the whole login form, but just shows the logout link. And if I click on it, it's going to redirect me to where we said it should redirect me, which is the homepage of this website. Now, how does it work from a tablet or from a mobile? If you remember earlier in this video, I told you that I created this navigation from an earlier tutorial that I released on the channel, actually several tutorials. So basically I have two headers. One is for tablet and mobile, as you can see here, and one is for the desktop. We've already covered the desktop, so now let's talk about the tablet and the mobile. So here for the tablet and the mobile, I have a section with 2 columns. So the first column's got an image that redirects to the homepage of the website, and the second column's got a button that triggers another full screen pop-up, and this time is the full screen navigation for tablet and mobile. So as you may imagine, we can't do the same thing we did here for the desktop header, because here in the desktop header, we have the buttons right here. But in our case, for the tablet and the mobile, we actually need to open the full screen navigation where things happen. So once again, to access this pop-up, you want to go to templates and then click on pop-ups. And I got a few pop-ups here. So if you only have one, then that's going to be easy. Otherwise, another way you can do it is just go to the front end of the website, hover over where it says edit Elementor, but don't click on it. And then look at the pop-ups that are loaded. And here I have pop-up login. This is not the one I want, you just created it. And I have pop-up full screen navigation. So let me click on this one. Okay, so this is our full screen navigation for our tablet and our mobile. So let me go into tablet mode. So as you can see, I already have a call to action, but instead of recreating everything, I can just go back. I can right click, copy this button. Then I'm going to right click, paste it here, and I'm going to delete the first one. Then I need to make some adjustments. So first of all, with my button selected, I'm just going to center it. Next, I want to make sure that the behavior is the one I want. So as you can see here, the link should open a pop-up, and the pop-up should be login template. So that's fine. Next, I want to click on the visibility tab and make sure our settings are correct. So I want to enable visibility. I want the display mode to be show. The triggers should be the user role, and when I click on user role, I just want to be sure that it only shows to non-logged in users. Okay, so let's go back to the front end and let me refresh. And if I click on the navigation, as you can see, we can see our call to action here. If I click on it, it works fine. It loaded our pop-up. But one thing I noticed here on the tablet and probably also on the mobile is that it would be better if it was full screen, because right now we can still see the login button here and we don't want that. So for that, let's go back in Elementor in our login pop-up, and I want to click on the responsive icon here at the bottom left corner of the window. Okay, let me click on it, and now by default it switches to the mobile version. Let me select the tablet version, and I'm going to select my section. So let's select our section, and with the section selected, I want to go to the layout tab, and this time I want it to be 100 VH. So now it's full screen. And next I want to click on the mobile icon, and by default it's going to pick what came from the level above, so that's going to be fine. But I may want to change the size here of the image because that's a bit too big. So let me go to style, and I'm just going to change the width to something that looks good for me. So you may want to change that on your hand. Okay, so now let's go back. Let me refresh. Once again, let's open, click on login, and now it's much better. Now we can focus on the task at hand, which is logging in. We can close it, it works fine, and with the image also. Okay, great. Let's check our iPhone version. Let's refresh. Once again, it works. Let's open, and it's looking beautiful. It works when we click on the image. So when we click on close, it works fine also. Great. Now we still want to add that behavior that when we're logged in, we want it to change, because right now, if I click on login and if I log in, okay, so it works fine. But now if I click here, the call to action has disappeared and I have no way to go back to the dashboard if I'm on another page. So let's go to About Us. As you can see, there's no way I can go back to my dashboard. So let's go back to WordPress. So I'm just going to copy the My Account button from the desktop version, then go back to the full screen pop-up, and I'm going to paste it right after the first button. Once again, I need to make some adjustments, so I'm going to align it here. Next, I want to click on the visibility icon and I want to check the conditions. So I want to enable visibility, and I want this to be hidden if the user role is visitor. So let me click on update. Okay, now let's go back to the front end. Let's refresh. Let's click, and as you can see, it works fine. Now we have my account, so I can click on my account from any page on the website and I can get back to my dashboard. And if I log out, let's click again on the navigation, and now I can log back in. And now cherry on the cake, if I zoom in, you can see this beautiful custom pointer. And if you're wondering how I do this and how it magically snaps to the elements in the navigation or on this call to action, I invite you to check my previous tutorial on the topic, because you can create this in just minutes without any additional plugin. Now, of course, you'll find a link in the description below. And if you're interested in getting better at web design, make sure you subscribe and smash the notification bell so that you don't miss anything. Now, if you get any value out of this video, I'd really appreciate if you could give it a thumbs up, because it's only going to take you a split second, but it's going to make a big difference for this channel. And if you love web design and you want to be able to create and maybe sell premium websites, make sure you watch any of the videos appearing on screen right now. I'm trying to create the content that I wish I had when I got started. So I'll see you in the next one, and until then, take care and stay safe.